So, hello, everybody, and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Today, welcome you back here at BSN Arc. This is the BSN Arc podcast here today. It is Wednesday, October 14th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. I know I did. A lot of breaking news overnight for the New York Jets. Le'Veon Bell got released. Just absolutely infuriates me. We'll talk about that coming right up. A lot of sports to get to today, like I've always said. Ton of sports. Now that sports are back on, even though baseball is done, NHL and basketball are done, even though it's just football that's going, there still is a lot of new, or not, baseball's not done. Yankees are done. I'm still saying no. Outside of the baseball and the football, there still is a ton of news. Ton of news in the NFL, ton of news in MLB. Just overall, some big stories in sports that have been going around. So it is really big. Last night, the Jets made another one of those decisions that I just questioned in the New York Jets. And I will talk about that coming right off. As a matter of fact, it is my first topic. I bumped the Bills-Titans game back to the second topic. We'll be talking about that game. Was definitely interesting. So last night I heard that was only the second game in NFL history that was played on a Tuesday night. So that means that second game in NFL history. So second game in 70 years. So it was 2014. There was a game played on a Tuesday night. Eagles. Was it Eagles? I think it was Eagles-Steelers. And the reason that game was played on Thursday night was because of a blizzard. A blizzard whooped through, I'm pretty sure, Philadelphia. Actually, I think, remember this. A blizzard whooped through Philadelphia. It was insane. And it was unable to play on Sunday. I do remember when the blizzard whipped through. I don't remember this exact game. No, I do remember when the Eagles played that snow game against the Lions. It was crazy. It was like a foot of snow on the ground, and they were playing through it. It was insane. But anyway, there was a blizzard that happened, and they could not play on Sunday. Just unable to play. They could not clear the field and stuff. Just was unable to play. So then on Monday, I'm assuming they, couldn't play, and then Tuesday they ended up playing. So none of this was because of virus. It was because of weather. That's what I assumed. When I heard that there was two games in NFL history, I was like, yeah, probably because of the weather. Either an absolute torrential downpour or snow, and sure enough it was. So it was odd watching a football game on Tuesday. Now, although it kind of did feel like a Monday night game, watching a game at night kind of felt like a Monday night game, but definitely was interesting. Football is not usually played on a Tuesday night, but it was a pretty good game. I did in fact get my pick wrong. I finished this week 9-5 on my picks, which brings me at a 55-24 record overall. Not a great week for picks. 9-5 isn't amazing. If you have the Lions Packers playing and the Broncos Patriots play, those are obviously two other games. But Lions Packers had a bye and then Broncos Patriots didn't play, obviously because of the virus. Those could have been very well 11-5. So it isn't the end of the world. I'm not too angry. 9-5, still above 500. As long as I finish above 500 for the week, I'm pretty much okay. But yeah, so it was another good night of football last night. With all that being said, and then the Dodgers almost came back yesterday. So these are the topics today. We got Le'Veon Bell releasing. And the Jets kind of just talk about this whole Le'Veon Bell situation, the Jets, what's wrong with the organization, just kind of all that stupid stuff. We'll talk about that. Then we have the Bills-Titans game, like I just said, review, tell you what I thought was good, bad, the usual. And then the MLB playoffs, we'll talk about those, the games that happened last night. I'll tell you what, that Dodgers game was definitely interesting. Dodgers 8-3 down in the ninth. Come up, and they score 4 runs, but could not come up. Cody Bellinger was on third base, 90 feet away. They could not come up in the big moment and win the game. They lose 8-7, and they fall 2-0 down in the series. Astros and Jose Altuve look absolutely horrible. They're 3-0. So the cheaters are probably going to be exiting unless if they make a 3-0 comeback. So that's good news. But with all that being said, this is the BSN Arc podcast, and let's get right into it. So yesterday I was watching the Bills-Titans game, and I was enjoying it. And then the New York Jets had to come through and really mess it up. I found myself in between every commercial, just getting more and more information, this, and this, and this, and this. And I found myself just to the point where I was just like, are you kidding me? Is this true? So, New York Jets release running back Le'Veon Bell. I have mixed feelings about this. I am personally, and I know there's two types of Jets fans. There's that Jets fan that personally doesn't like Bell, and then there's that Jets fan that personally does like Bell. I was one of those Jets fans that liked Bell. I think Bell is still a very, 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 very good running back. I still believe he joins another team that has a good head coach, has a good front office, has a good offensive line, has a good overall franchise like the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's going to succeed there. And it lines up so much for you. I mean, it's tough to really say that Le'Veon Bell, it was all his fault on why he was bad with the Jets. It's not his fault why he was bad with the Jets. The stats, the numbers, the history lines up. When he was with the Steelers, the numbers show. Look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. I always say that. Opinions, their opinions aren't really facts. You can have an opinion that might not be true. Sam Darnold being better, looking at it, if I'm sitting here saying Sam Darnold's better than Tom Brady, you look at the numbers, that's not true. But what I'm trying to say here is that the Le'Veon Bell, his numbers were so much better with the Steelers than the Jets because he was getting used a lot more. He was not getting used at all with the New York Jets. I mean, you talk about the guy getting 11, 13 carries a game compared to when he was in Pittsburgh, you would have some 30 carry games. Just absolutely horrible. And the fact, and this is what just boggles my mind, and I said this yesterday, the fact that we got rid of Le'Veon Bell before we got rid of Adam Gase is just mind-boggling to me, and this franchise has to do something because this is not an NFL franchise. This can't be right. There is no way an NFL franchise can be this stupid to get rid of Le'Veon Bell when it wasn't even his fault on why he was bad. Adam Gase didn't like him. Imagine playing for a team and having your head coach not even like you. I mean, are you out of your mind? And the Jets lost this end of the releasing. This was not good for the New York Jets to get rid of Le'Veon Bell. I understand it gives us cap space. I understand. I would love to see what Joe Douglas does with that money. He's probably going to spend it on a bunch of bad players because that's what Joe Douglas seems to do. He does that real well. He has all these draft picks. We all say how much we got to get receivers. We get one receiver and hasn't played one snap this season because he's been on the IR. Now we have all this money. This was not Le'Veon Bell's fault. When your head coach doesn't like you, when your GM is in the same boat as your head coach doesn't care about you, how in the world are you supposed to succeed? This is all on Adam Gase, and it's mind-boggling to me that we keep Adam Gase and get rid of Le'Veon Bell. It really is. Bill O'Brien got fired. Dan Quinn got fired. Matt Patricia, they lose one or two more games. He's probably gone. You want to know why? Because those franchises know what they're doing. The New York Jets have no clue. Should not have gotten rid of Le'Veon Bell. You get rid of Gase, bring in a guy that's going to use Bell, you'll be surprised on how good he really is. Look at what he did with Pittsburgh. Good coach, good team, good franchise. Was one of the best, if not the best running back during his time in Pittsburgh. And now him with the New York Jets was not very good. If you want to know why, was because Gase misused him. Gase didn't like him. Gase didn't want him to run the ball. All of these whole things about Adam Gase, we got to get him more in the passing game. No. You gave him one, you threw to him one time in that Arizona game. And more about this stuff is releasing about how we wanted to get rid of him before the season even started. Le'Veon Bell is a lot better than what he showed on the New York Jets. And he's going to go to a team, and he's going to be a solid running back for that team. And the New York Jets will realize they made a mistake by releasing him. I don't know why in the world you would get rid of Le'Veon Bell before you get rid of Adam Gase. You get rid of Gase, and then you keep Bell, and you see what he can do. He was getting misused. I mean, the guy can only do so much if he's getting 11 carries a game. The guy can only do so much if his offensive line's at the bottom of the league. The guy can only do so much if he's playing for the New York Jets. Get rid of Gase, not Bell. This is horrible. And Adam Gase stays with the New York Jets for yet another day. I don't know how many more times the Jets have to get blown out by 20 points for the New York Jets to finally realize, you know what? This guy is not what we expected, and we got to get rid of him. The dumbest NFL coach in all the league. Doesn't know what he's doing. Doesn't know what he's play calling. Doesn't know what he's doing. And yet the New York Jets still buy into this whole Adam Gase thing. And they get rid of Le'Veon Bell. Because Adam Gase doesn't like him. But meanwhile, you keep Bell and Adam Gase leaves, Bell by far can be the normal Le'Veon Bell you saw. And I think this was mutual here. I do think this was mutual. I do think Le'Veon Bell was done with the Jets, and I think the Jets were done with Le'Veon Bell. I don't think that's an understatement. I think that's realistic. I think that the New York Jets were done with Bell, and Bell was done with the New York Jets. This goes back to the Jamal Adams situation. And look how that's worked for us. Yeah, Jamal Adams. Look how that's worked for us. Jamal Adams is enjoying his time in Seattle. They're 5-0 right now. He's really enjoying his time. He's watching a quarterback throwing 5 touchdowns every week, an MVP vote, and top of the he's on a good team right now. Bell will find himself on a good team and completely forget about the New York Jets. And once again, the Jets mess themselves up once again. And this is just horrible. We are the laughingstock of the NFL, and we just don't know what to do. This owner, too, he has to get rid of him. You can't take this anymore. This owner is horrible, doesn't know what he's doing, and Joe Douglas, I don't care what his history was. I don't care if he won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. I don't care or Super Bowl with the Eagles. I don't care what he did with the Eagles. I don't care whatever he did. I don't care what he did with the Philadelphia Eagles. I can care less that he won a Super Bowl that we're talking about now, and he has done absolutely nothing since he got here. And we have to get rid of him too. Clear the house. Get rid of all of them. Get rid of Gase. Get rid of Douglas. Get rid of all the coordinators. Get rid of everyone. Get somebody that's going to come in here, do the job, hire a coach, hire a GM, have that coach get his surrounding coordinators, and get a good team. We can't sit here every single week talking about how bad Adam Gase is and how bad this franchise is. Get rid of all of them. Get rid of Douglas, get rid of Gase, get rid of every single one of the coordinators. I don't care if the coordinator's done well here or not. Clear house, get rid of them, bring in a new guy, start over. I feel like I'm saying this every 2 years because it seems like we have to start over every 2 years. And this whole Le'Veon Bell situation, horrible. Once again, going to come back and hurt us. How is that Jamal Adams trade working out? Not very good. You want to know why? Look at our defense without Jamal Adams. Not the same. You want to know why? Because Jamal Adams is one of the best safeties, if not the best safety in the NFL. There is no guy in the New York Jets that is going to be able to do what Jamal Adams did. And I'm not trying to say that Bradley McDougall's not good. He's good. Nothing like Jamal Adams. Marcus May's good. Nothing like Jamal Adams. We should have kept Jamal Adams. I know he requested a trade. We should have gave him his money. Another mistake by the New York Jets. Horrible on their part. Another mistake. Misuse, get rid of, good. Get rid of them. Get rid of Bell, get rid of Adams. Great, good. How's that working for you? Really good. So now what? Frank Gore is the answer? LaMichael P. Ryan, who's barely played, the answer? Who's your running back now? Let's hear it. Let's hear this genius. Remember, Adam Gase, he's a genius. He's supposed to be this, he's a genius. Remember, he's a genius. We all should know this. He's a genius. Invented the offense. Let's hear it. I would like to hear his game plan coming up this week. He thought about dropping the play calls. He's not dropping the play calls anymore. A report came out a couple hours ago. He's going to keep play calling. So that means you're going to see a lot more of those second down and 26 where, you're in a second down and 26 and we're going to run it right up the middle of Frank Gore because that's the right move to make. You have 26 yards to go. So you're going to run it up the middle with Frank Gore who's going to get absolutely stuffed for 1 yard. And then it sets up a third down and 25 and that's a good position to put Joe Flacco in this horrible receiving core in because, once again, Adam Gase messing everyone up again. So this is a horrible move for the Jets. It should not be Le'Veon Bell that's leaving. It should be Adam Gase that's leaving. The fact that we got rid of Le'Veon Bell before we got rid of Adam Gase is just absolutely mind-boggling and absolutely gets me so crazy angry. I don't know what it is with this franchise that they're not noticing. And you want to know why the Jets aren't getting rid of Gase? One of the probably main reasons is because Joe Douglas came in here because he's very close with Adam Gase. They've had connections in the past. They're very close. They like each other. They're very close involving football. They know a lot about each other. They're very close. So that pair ain't going to be, unless if Christopher Johnson somehow gets some sort of, his brain gets some sort of smart inside of him, this team's going to sit and rot this long. We're going to watch Adam Gase rot on the sidelines for a couple more weeks, people. So 0-16, here we come. Another horrible move by the New York Jets. Then once again, 0-5, who cares? Who cares? We're 0-5. Get rid of Bell. Get rid of all of them. Why don't you? Just get rid of all of them. Get rid of them. Get rid of all of them. Why don't you get rid of Mosley? Let's get rid of Bell. Why we already got rid of Adams. Why don't we get rid of our best receiver while you're at it too, Jamison Crowder? Let's get rid of our starting quarterback, Darnold. Why don't you just get rid of him? Keep Gase. Keep Gase. Let Gase sit here and let Gase sit here, right? And just get rid of all the other players. We'll let Gase sit here, right? Another horrible decision by the New York Jets. I can't believe week in and week out I sit on Sunday, 3 hours, I watch this team embarrass themselves on TV. Just an absolutely embarrassment of a franchise. And it only gets worse. And to Le'Veon Bell, I hope Le'Veon Bell goes out to a better team, absolutely dominates, and shows the New York Jets that all along it was the clown, Adam Gase, the guy who can't even look straight because of his eyes are all goofy. It was him, the problem, not Le'Veon Bell. Let's read this quick article. New York Jets released running back Le'Veon Bell. On Tuesday, the New York Jets made a roster move that caught the NFL by surprise. The team announced that it had released star running back Le'Veon Bell. The Jets signed Bell to a lucrative contract back in March of 2019, but the relationship between the two sides clearly wasn't working out. General Manager Joe Douglas released a statement announcing the move on Tuesday afternoon. After having conversations with Le'Veon and his agent, and exploring potential trade options over the past couple of days, we have made the decision to release Le'Veon, Douglas said in his statement. The Jets organization appreciates Le'Veon's efforts during his time here, and we know he worked hard to make significant contributions to this team. We believe this decision is the best interest of both parties, and will wish him future success. Bell still had 2 years remaining on his 4-year deal. New York that guaranteed him $35 million, according to SportTrack. Releasing Bell leaves the Jets with $15 million of dead money against the salary cap in 2020. Next year, that number will be $4 million. In his 18 games played for the Jets, Bell earned $28 million. Not long after the news of his release broke, Bell posted a reaction on social media. It's fair to say that the veteran running back wasn't crushed that the team decided to part ways with him. Le'Veon Bell, I don't know. According to multiple reports on Tuesday morning, the New York Jets were actively trying to trade Le'Veon Bell. Reports that the Jets were looking to deal Bell were first reported by Manish Mehta of New York Daily News, and then confirmed by Ralph Vacciano of SNY, who said the Jets seemed determined to move him by the November 3rd NFL trade deadline. From 2014 to 2017, Bell was one of the league's best running backs for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was a first-team All-Pro in 2 of those years and a second-team All-Pro in another. In 2018, Bell held out the entire season because he and the Steelers couldn't agree on a new contract. The following spring, the Jets signed him to that 4-year deal worth a total of $52.5 million. In his one full season in New York, Bell rushed 245 times for 789 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also caught 66 passes for 461 yards and a score. Overall, Bell has played in parts of 7 NFL seasons. For his entire career, Bell has carried the ball for 1,493 times for 6,199 yards and 38 touchdowns. He has also been a threat in the passing game with 381 career receptions for 3,160 yards and 8 scores. So, Le'Veon Bell is no longer a New York Jet. and just absolutely ridiculous, to say the very least. Just can't believe that the New York Jets are this stupid. Really is. And I just can't believe that Adam Gase is still the head coach of the New York Jets, and Le'Veon Bell leaves the New York Jets. It was obviously not a successful signing. I will say that. I'm not saying that Le'Veon Bell had was good with us. I'm not saying that he was a star running back with us. He struggled with us. But the reason he struggled with us was that he was being misused. The head coach did not like him, and just overall was not their ideal situation. So I said this earlier, I think. I said this earlier about Le'Veon Bell and his career attempts, all that stuff. So I said this earlier, and I want to make this a clear thing. I said earlier about the New York Jets, I said that Le'Veon Bell was being misused. I said that Le'Veon Bell was not getting the amount of carries. The numbers show. Let me give you some of these numbers right now. Okay? Let me give you them. And one of them really boggles your mind, just because. It really does. So, 2013. So, last year, we're not going to go by this year because he only played two games. So, he only had 19 attempts in 2 games. All the other ones beat him. So, either way. But let's run through it. So, last year, he had 245 attempts, right? His rookie year, he only played 13 games, right? He's missing 3 games. So, 3 games, that's about... 3 games... It's about, I don't know. Anyway. But anyway, let's look at this. So, here we go. His rookie season, he only played 13 games. He had 244 attempts. Last season, he played 15 games, only had 245. No way in 3 games of his rookie season, those 3 games that he missed, no way he would have only had 1 carry. So even he only played 13 games, and he still almost had more carries than last year. Then he played 16 games, had 290 carries. Then in 2015, he had 113 carries already. He only played 6 games, and he only had 113. He plays 10 more games? He probably tops 245. Then in 2016, 12 games played, 261 carries, only 12 games. 12 games, remember. Last season, he played 15 games, only had 245. In 12 games, he beat that in 12 games, and he still had 4 more games he could have played at 261 carries. Then in 2017, he had 15 games played and 321 carries. That's this exact. He played 15 in 2017, played 15 last year, 321 in 2017, 245 in 2019. Just goes to show you how much we misused him. Really, how much we misused him as a player. Really is horrible how much we wasted his talent. He has so much talent. And Adam Gase, Joe Douglas, and this Jets organization took it, crumbled it up in a ball, and threw it out the window. Just because Adam Gase didn't like him. Can you please do something for the team? If you're really that passionate about winning ball games, and even if you don't like the player, still get him involved. If you're really that passionate for winning, and Adam Gase said he's open to doing anything at this point. He said that a couple days ago when he said he was going to give up the play calling. If he's really that passionate, then why in the world was he purposely not running Bell? He runs Bell a lot more. The Jets might be able to win a lot more games. If he was really that passionate for winning. No, you want to know why he wasn't? He hated him. And I'll tell you what, Gase, nobody likes you. All right? None of these fans want him as the head coach. None of these fans want Gase as the head coach. So Adam Gase, none of these fans want you as the head coach. A lot of these fans wanted Bell running back. So once again, there you go, messing it up for everyone else. So, like I said, none of these Jets fans I know wants Gase at head coach. None of them like him at head coach. None of them like his play calling. Just horrible. And same thing with Bell. People like Bell, but he got misused and he got ruined. So let's just look through. So I'm going to compare the numbers. So he had 15 games last season. Okay, so 321 divided by 15. Okay, hold on. Let me just get this. Just get this up. Just really is quite horrible. So let's get this up. Okay. So 321 divided by. Okay. Now that's 21.4. Okay. 245 divided by 15. Okay. So in his season that he had 321 carries, 321 divided by 15, he averaged about, what happened here? 321 divided by 15. He averaged about 21.4 carries a game. So around 21.5 carries a game. Last season, 245 divided by 15, he only averaged 16 carries a game. So he averaged 5 less carries just in that's only one season. So if you want to go, for example, let's go 261 divided by 12. Let's go that season. Let's go the season he had 261 divided by 12. Let's see how many. 261 divided by 12. He averaged about 22 carries a game. So the one season and only 12 games, he averaged more carries than he did in 15 games. So with we'll put it at this, with the in his time with the Steelers. Sorry, brain fart. With his time with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he had with his time with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he had about 21 carries a game, 22 carries a game. And then with his time with the Jets, he averaged only about 16 carries a game. So he averaged about 6 less carries a game, which goes to show you how much they misused him. You might think 5-6 carries isn't much. It is. And believe me, there was a couple games scattered in there where he only had. Now, let's go with this. Take out the first 3 games of the season, he's averaging about 11, 12 carries a game. Because the first game of the season, he got 20. Second game, he got 32. And then all of a sudden, after they start off 0-2, 0-4, subtract the first 3 games, he's probably averaging about, because then he had the Dolphins game, he had 11 carries. The Giants game, he only had 12. The rest of the way, I think the max amount of carries he had in the game was 13. So he was only averaging about 11 carries a game for the rest of the season, which is even worse. So it just goes to show you. And look, he only had 789 yards last season. You want to know why? Because he was, he's showing you, it's just because. He only had 80, it really is horrible. He's had 3 1,000-yard seasons. And this is a dude that comes to the New York Jets, got a lot of talent, and Gaze, Douglas, organization, Christopher Johnson, who, let me talk about Christopher Johnson. Talk about a horrible owner. He is one of them, too. Horrible owner. The guy doesn't even know what a football looks like. Horrible owner. And I can't stand him as an owner. Because he called after week 1, he called Adam Gaze a brilliant offensive mind. How can you even call him a brilliant offensive mind? Like, Christopher Johnson, please get rid of this coach. Please get rid of this guy. I want you to please get rid of this guy. Please get rid of Gaze. I don't want him to be on the Jets sideline anymore. I can't sit there on Sunday and watch this guy every single Sunday fail and have this team fail. Watch this team fail. Make bad plays and fail. I can't watch this anymore. And now you get rid of Bell before you get rid of Gaze. Really is just remarkably horrible. And this season, in 2 games, he had 19 attempts in 2 games. Let's see. Wait, so, hold on a second. 19. And this season, in 2 games, he was only averaging 9 carries a game, which you can't compare that. But just goes to show you that if he would have played the next 14 games, if he would have played the next 11 games, would have showed you the path he would have been on for the amount of carries in games this season. So, The Jets, let's say it again. The Jets mess up once again. Make another mistake. Make another decision that's going to really hurt us in keeping Adam Gase. And once again, the New York Jets mess up. So Le'Veon Bell has gone released. And Gase, another day, is the head coach of the New York Jets. I don't know how bad an organization can be. Like, when does it get to the point? Like I said, I don't know if us as Jets fans are watching the same game that Christopher Johnson, Joe Douglas, and all those guys in the front office are. Right? I don't know if they're watching the same game that we are. Like, I don't know if they're watching Jets highlights from, like, when they were making the Super Bowl. I don't know what they're watching. Because if they were watching the same thing that we were watching, if they were somewhat decent, you don't have to be that smart to know how bad Adam Gase is. You don't have to be this football genius to know how bad Adam Gase is. Look at his record, look at what he's done to this team, and you'll realize you could never watch a game of football. If somebody came on the studio, never watched football, and I taught them a little bit, maybe about the winning and the losing. They know what a win and a loss is, and I would tell them what Gase has done to this team. They would say it was horrible. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to be a genius to be like, you know what, this guy isn't a good coach. All you have to be, you don't even have to be a sports fan. You should realize, this guy, Adam Gase, and his eyes at the opening press conference, he became a meme. Literally, people made fun of him because of his eye. He became a meme. And he's been a meme ever since because people still to this day just can't stand that we got him. And I will tell you what. I'll tell you what. This is a dude that's just gotta go. He's gotta go. There's just no other way around it. He's gotta go. Like I said, you don't have to be any genius. This organization doesn't have to be a genius to get rid of Gase. You don't have to be this crazy football smart person to be like, you know what? It's time to get rid of him. All you have to know, you don't even have to know that much. It's clear. It's loud and clear. Gase is literally screaming at the New York Jets, get rid of me. Like, it is literally like how he gets these guys to reform week to week, how his play calling is literally screaming at the New York Jets, fire me now. He's literally asking to be fired with how he play calls these games. It's horrible. And the Jets just can't seem to just do anything. So, once again, Jets just miserable again and make another decision that I'm questioning still. Just get rid of Gase too. If you're going to get rid of Bell, at least get rid of Gase. It wasn't Bell's fault. Like, this doesn't make sense to me. And once again, this is the problem. When you have a GM that really likes a coach like Adam Gase, that's the problem. You ain't going to get rid of Gase before you get rid of Bell. You're just not going to do that. I don't care if it's a business. I don't care. It's so cliquey like that. If Joe Douglas likes Gase, he ain't going to get rid of him. He's going to go what Gase wants to do. Like, imagine playing for a team. Imagine. You watch, viewers at home. Just think. You're on an NFL team. You're in a big organization like the Jets. You're the media, New York media, big city, all that stuff, right? You're on that team. How tough would it be to go out there and even want to play if you know your head coach doesn't like you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what I find crazy. Like, if a coach doesn't like a player, then get rid of him. This is horrible. If a coach doesn't like a player and what Gase did to him, for example, and I don't want to get into comparing Joe Torre to Adam Gase, but you look at it, Derek Jeter and Joe Torre never got along. Were they successful? Did they kind of just, mutually be like, okay, we'll get along for, we'll just, they were always, it's the truth. Joe Torre and Derek Jeter were never close. They always had a lot of disagreements. They were never really close. They were always a little, they were never able to get smooth. They were almost like if you push two magnets on the same side together. And, it's like that little ball there. They were kind of like that. They could never click. They were always a little, one was always a little off than the other. Were they successful? Yes. Gase and Bell were the same thing. Did Torre use Derek Jeter the way Derek Jeter wanted to be used? Yes, Torre made Derek Jeter a Hall of Famer. And what did Bell do? What did Gase use to Bell? Gase purposely misused Bell to go ahead and get him off the team. Like, how bad is that? It's almost like that's horrible. Like, for a coach to do that, it just doesn't seem right. So, definitely, the New York Jets got to be better. So, that's what I got for the New York Jets. So, now we move on to the Bills-Titans game. Coming up next, we will talk about that. Alrighty, so here we go. So, last night the Tennessee Titans, so I actually learned yesterday. It was kind of funny because yesterday on my pod actually made a mistake. And I accidentally said that the Titans practiced twice in a week. I messed that up. I thought the Titans practiced twice in 2 weeks. The Titans had 1 day of practice to prepare for this game against the Buffalo Bills. They had 1 day of practice to prepare for this game against the Buffalo Bills. So, you ask me, if you would have told me yesterday, this is a Titans team that has 1 day of practice, going up against a 4-0 team like the Buffalo Bills, who are riding high off of another win on a 4-game win streak, Josh Allen, who definitely is in the conversation. Now, there's a difference between being in the conversation and being a legitimate candidate. Do I think Josh Allen's up there with Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and guys like that? No, but is he in the conversation? Sure. If you pull your 6-7 guys of, players that are in the conversation, you have your guys that are in your conversation, then you have your guys that are, you have your front runners, and you have that one guy like Russell Wilson at the moment where, he's kind of the clear favorite to win it all. So, it's, your conversation might be Rodgers. Your conversation might be Rodgers, Jackson, Allen. That might be your conversation. Then your contenders are Mahomes. No, maybe it's only two. Mahomes. Kyler Murray wouldn't be. Kyler Murray might be in the conversation. But if you follow what I'm saying, definitely, you're going up against a quarterback, Josh Allen. We all know he's found incredible success this season for the Buffalo Bills. And they went into that game playing up against a Titans team who just got a lot of heat from the NFL. Coming off of a team that had the first true outbreak. The Titans are almost like the Miami Marlins in a way, if you follow what I'm saying. Miami Marlins were the first team that had an outbreak. Usually the first outbreak is the real outbreak that you really struggle with because you want to see, like for example, the MLB. Clear facts here, right? The MLB, their first outbreak, Miami Marlins. They really struggled. They could not get it right. They were really struggling, just couldn't do anything. Sure enough, they got that all situated. It was fine. The rest of the outbreaks, the rest of the year, they were out for 2-3 days, and they were back on the playing field in 3 days after that. So I'm sure the NFL will make adjustments and will make moves to make the season as normal as can be. But the Titans went out there last night, and they looked like a team. The Bills look like the team that practiced once in the 2 weeks, and the Titans look like the team that were practicing normally. The Bills came out flat. I mean, there's not much else to say other than the Bills did come out flat, and there's no other way of saying it. The Bills, the Titans start off that game, drive early, get a touchdown. There you go, A.J. Brown, fresh off of, being injured, comes in, gets a touchdown early on. Tannehill to A.J. Brown. You're like, okay, there it is. Then the Bills come back downfield, they score another touchdown. You're like, okay, this might be, at first, I was sitting there and I was going to be like, you know what? This might be one of those things where, this might be, one of those situations where this might be a shootout. When you see the first two teams go downfield like they did, score two quick touchdowns, you're like, okay, this might be a shootout. Then there's no scoring for the rest of the quarter. Obviously, Allen struggled yesterday a little bit. Obviously he had the pick and everything. Actually, I'm pretty sure the pick set up I made a mistake. The pick set up the Josh Allen pick that set up the touchdown for the Titans. So I'm pretty sure actually it was the second possession for the Bills, I think, that scored. Whatever. It was 7-7 anyway. They got downfield. They scored. End of the first quarter. They're rolling. The Bills to come out the second half. The Titans looked good the second half. I mean, the Titans looked good. Or second quarter, I'm sorry. Titans look good second quarter. I mean, you really can't sit here and tell me they looked bad. They came out firing. Defense played very well in the second quarter. Had a lot of good plays on Allen. The Bills' offense just couldn't click, couldn't get on the right page. They only scored 3 points. The Titans have a big quarter going into the second half. It's 21-10. Then they open up the second half with a touchdown. It's 28-10. You're kind of sitting there like, yeah, this game's kind of out of reach. It's just one of those things where you're sitting there like, this game's probably ain't gonna do this. This is gonna be tough to come back. And then the Bills score 6. They try to go for the 2. They missed it. It was 28-16. Personally, I think they should have just went for the 1. Just because, you missed the 2 point and you're like, okay, either way. I personally think they should have just went for the 1. Then it's 28-16. Then they score again, 35-16. Score again, 42-16. And the Bills ended up losing the game. A couple takeaways from this game that I really noticed. The Bills' defense is just struggling. The Bills' defense is not the Bills' defense you saw last season, not the secondary you saw last season. Just overall, not what you saw, not what you want to see out of this team, to say the very least. And I think that goes to show you. I think it's obvious that this team is struggling. And yesterday, you could really tell the Bills did in fact miss Tre'Davious White. Josh Norman was really struggling. He had 2-3 penalties on him, pass interferences. Then he got stiff-armed, absolutely pancaked by Derrick Henry, which was very funny and a very good play by Derrick Henry. He's got a lot of skill. You're sitting there watching that game, and you're sitting there and you see how, the Titans just, are just cruising, and this is a secondary that Tannehill just absolutely tore up. I mean, this is a Buffalo defense that absolutely got torn up. Tannehill had 3 touchdowns yesterday. Really just played very well. Let's look at some of the numbers. Josh Allen went 26-41, 263 yards, 10.1 was his average, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, a sack, and 77.6 rating. Yeldon had 52 yards, Singletary 25 yards, Allen at 18 yards. Diggs had another big game. He had another 160-yard game, 10 receptions, 16 targets. Yeldon caught the touchdown. He caught a touchdown, obviously. And then Isaiah McKenzie also caught a touchdown as well. That was that little rollout play by Allen, gave it to McKenzie and scored. That was the late game score. No, that was the early game score. The late game score was Yeldon, I'm pretty sure. And then they went for the 2 point and did not convert. Barkley came in at the end, went 3 for 5, 22 yards, 7.3 was average, rating of 70.4. We move on to the Titans. Tannehill went 21-28, 195 yards, 9.3 was average, 3 touchdowns, rating of 129.3. And, went very well there. Henry had 57 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tannehill had a touchdown himself rushing. Threw one to A.J. Brown, and Jonnu Smith had 2 touchdowns. So he had a big day as well. Jonnu Smith's had a remarkable season. He's had a very, very, very good season. He's been one of the more underrated tight ends in all of the NFL. A.J. Brown came right off of being out, and he played real well. I mean, there's not much else you have to say there. A.J. Brown, a player who I expected, coming into this game, practice once in a week. Before he wasn't really practicing. This is almost A.J. Brown's first practice in a month almost, and he went out there and looked fresh as can be. And this is a Titans team that you go into yesterday's game. You have 1 day to prepare. It's almost like, this is one of these games where you might just get absolutely blown out. This is a Titans team that now won this game, and you're sitting there and you're like, yay, we're back to normal. Now we can prepare for the next game normally. It is really crazy what they did yesterday. I was not expecting that. Breaking news. NFL cancels the Pro Bowl. Interesting. So NFL cancels the Pro Bowl. Interesting. I mean, at least they're canceling just the Pro Bowl and not like anything else. No, NFL announces it's remaining. 2021 Pro Bowl will have next year's Pro Bowl. So they won't have a Pro Bowl. Okay. Anyway, not the end of the world. I mean, I like the Pro Bowl, but it's not. I would rather the Pro Bowl be canceled than the whole season get canceled. It came up on my phone here. It said breaking news: NFL cancels, and I was like, hold on a second. I had to switch down really quickly. That's why. Sorry if I paused there for a second, because I actually got a little nervous that when they said the NFL cancels, I was like, don't tell me they canceled the season or canceled something. And I heard it was just the Pro Bowl. And I mean, I don't mind the Pro Bowl, but it's something where I'm just not to the point where I would rather watch the NFL either way. Actually, outside of Jamison Crowder, the Jets don't really have any Pro Bowlers. I shouldn't say the Jets don't have any, because if Jamison Crowder continues to do what he does, I mean, this is 3 straight weeks as at 100 yards. He's the only guy in the Jets I'll compliment that could be Pro Bowl. But either way, the Jets probably won't have any real Pro Bowls, so it doesn't really matter. But what I'm trying to say is it's not the end of the world. Even if the Jets were an insane team and had a bunch of Pro Bowlers, I either way wouldn't really be, to the point where I'd be like, oh, are you kidding me? But anyway, back to the whole Bills thingy. Bills moved to 4-1. Titans moved to 4-0. Bills have to adjust quickly because they play the Cardinals, or they play the Chiefs next week, so they have to adjust quickly. The Buffalo Bills do, because the Chiefs, even though they lost, they still are one of the top teams in the league. You can't all of a sudden say they're not a good team because they lost against a good team. And a lot of people think that they are a very good team, the Raiders. So you can't all of a sudden sit here and say the Chiefs aren't good. I was very surprised about that Chiefs game, but the Chiefs are still a very good team. And if you're going to tell me that this is a Bills team, if this Bills team shows up against the Chiefs, they're going to lose. So the Bills, definitely surprising. I was not expecting the Bills to lose. And if they were going to lose, I was not expecting it to be 42-16. I was not. If you would have told me the Titans, a team who had one practice in the past week, their star receiver had one practice in about a month, would have went up against a team like the Buffalo Bills and put up 42 points. I don't care if their secondary or defense hasn't been good this season. The fact that they barely practiced, barely seen each other, would go out there and score 42 points. It's just amazing. And like I said, you could really tell they missed Tre'Davious White. Josh Norman did not have a good game. He had far from a good game. So, the Bills lose, Titans win. Now I move on to the MLB playoffs. The completed games yesterday were the Rays beat the Astros 5-2. Braves beat the Dodgers in a very interesting one, 8-7. The Rays yesterday won. The Rays right now, their hitting is just on point. Their pitching is on point. I mean, there's not much else has to be said. The Rays are a team that is on point right now. The Rays are on point, period. The Rays are doing well, period. The Cheaters, on the other hand, they are really, really, really struggling. The Cheaters are really struggling. They cannot get anything going for them. Jose Altuve has made his third throwing error of the season, or of the postseason. Made two in the second game, I'm pretty sure, then and then one last game, and both of those errors came back to haunt them late in the game, involving them in, really having a big impact on why they lost the game, is because Altuve is making these errors. It really is crazy. The Astros made an error yesterday, and it's Altuve. He just can't field the ball correctly, and if I were the Astros, I would DH him. I don't care how good his history is. I don't care. I would DH him because he's hurting you. These errors are coming back to hurt them. Those two errors in Game 2 set up that 3-run home run. That hurt them, right? These errors are hurting the team. It's not like these errors are happening and they're getting out of the inning anyway. These errors are hurting the team. If I were the Astros, I would DH him. And his hitting hasn't been great either. So either way, you just might as well either way, who cares? So the Rays are up 3-0. The Rays, all they have to do is win today and they'll be headed to the World Series. And the Astros, all they have to do is lose today. The Cheaters, all they have to lose today, and they'll be done. So the Rays won 5-2. And the Braves beat the Dodgers. So I was watching the Tuesday night game. I was watching the Bills-Titans game. And then I turned on that game late. And it was like 8-3. I was like, you know what? It's not a great game, but I'll just watch it anyway. It was 8-3. It was like 1 out. And I was kind of just sitting there. I was like, okay, it's not a great game. Sure enough, the Dodgers make a 4-run comeback, and I was rooting for the Dodgers. I kind of hope the Dodgers have a good loss, have a good postseason. obviously you're sitting there talking about, a team 8-3. I was like, this game's over. I'll watch it anyway. Sure enough, they score 4 runs. It's 8-7. Cody Bellinger's at third base. Pollock comes up. Pollock's 1 for 4. He's had a good series. I'm sitting there like, the Dodgers have a chance. Sure enough, he grounds out the third, throws it over. The Dodgers, one thing I've noticed about the Dodgers is they're getting routed quickly. The Braves are getting off to quick starts. Yesterday, going into the bottom of the 5th inning, the Braves were already up 6-0. Okay, the Braves were already up 6-0. Then it was 7-0, then it was 7-3, then it was 8-3, and then it was 8-7. So, what I'm noticing is, the Dodgers almost did that thing again. They ran out of time. They try to make one of those late inning comebacks, and they're not able to do it. The Braves are getting off to quick starts. I said this whole postseason has been all about getting off to quick starts. So the Dodgers lose again, Braves win. And now today's games are the Dodgers Braves again, 6:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the Rays Astros 8:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do think the Dodgers. I'm just gonna give the Dodgers the win here. If they lose tonight, tomorrow I'll probably take the Braves, and I'm gonna take the Rays with the sweep. I think this isn't obviously magic. So Dodgers and Rays. I think the Rays win tonight easily. The Astros hitting is not good, and the Rays pitching has been dominant, and they have Glass now on the mound. So those are my picks. So Dodgers and Rays, I got winning. I just think the Rays have just been so dominant in the pitching and the hitting game, and the Astros just can't seem to hit. Altuve can't seem to hit without the buzzer. Altuve can't seem to hit without the buzzer. I still can't believe those select few MLB fans out there that still stand up for the Houston Astros and are like, oh, they didn't really cheat. This is all a hoax. Like, dude, you literally, how can you say that? Altuve's not playing good because he ain't wearing the buzzer, and this is an Astros team that's not good because there ain't no garbage cans in center field. There's not no banging to the garbage can. Like, the fact that they literally knew, like, I think people get a little over to the point where, like, they were banging on the garbage can. Everybody makes fun of them with the banging on the garbage can. But what I'm saying is it's kind of funny how, like, people don't realize, like I know people realize it, but when you really put it in depth, like, how badly they cheated. Like, they literally knew what pitch was coming. Like, it was crazy. Like, they literally knew what pitch was coming. Like, imagine being able to know what pitch was coming. Like, it really was just crazy. So, cheaters are down 3-0 because they ain't wearing buzzers and because the Astros, and they're down. So, definitely going to be interesting. But I do have the Rays winning this game and moving on to the World Series. I just think that's just what's going to happen. I just think that's the reality of it all. So that's what I got for the podcast today. Tomorrow, I do not think there's an NFL game on tomorrow. So tomorrow will just be tomorrow could very well be a big sports day. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I might do like kind of just my final Yankees kind of just thoughts on the season. And some of the things Yankees have to do in the offseason is what I might do. Something like that. Today the Yankees did their final kind of, interviews. Cashman had an interview. Boone had an interview. Your normal stuff. They do it all the time. Back at Yankee Stadium. That's kind of their final, hoorah before they really head into the offseason. Obviously the Yankees, they're done. So I might do kind of just my thoughts on the season, what was good about it, the takeaways, what was good, what was bad, the good takeaways, the bad takeaways, maybe like 3 or 4 good, 3 or 4 bad, and then some of the biggest questions going into the offseason. Might do something like that. Just kind of the biggest questions, what will happen with Mayhew, what will happen with Sanchez, Paxton, Happ, will Herman come back, Severino, are we going to pick up a pitcher, kind of just some of those big questions. I might do something like that, kind of just bring you into the offseason, because I'll still talk about the Yankees in the offseason, but baseball definitely, as it winds down, as, obviously the World Series is done, baseball definitely, football starts to really take over what I talk about, and that usually happens too. I mean, you saw during the regular season, I was talking all about baseball. And then baseball is now kind of, not winding down, but now that the Yankees are done, I still watch, the playoffs and everything. But, definitely I do talk about New York sports a ton. So, it was really a thing. If the Yankees were still in it, I would definitely be talking a lot more about it. But I kind of wind down things with maybe I'll give you 3 or 4 good takeaways of what happened this season, 3 or 4 bad takeaways. Give you my maybe 5 moves the Yankees questionable. These 5 things the Yankees are questions going into the offseason. Will they add another starter? Paxton and Happ, what will happen? LeMahieu, Sanchez, Higgy. Who's going to get the start? Starting catcher. What's going to happen there? Kind of just something like that. So it'll be interesting. Same thing with Judge. Are they going to pay Judge? What's going to happen there? So it should be interesting. But I might do something like that. It's not guaranteed. I might do it if I could find takeaways and if I could think of things like that. Good takeaways, bad takeaways, and then questions going into the offseason. Something like that. Kind of just wrap up the Yankee season officially with maybe that topic. So that's what I got for the podcast today. Tomorrow's obviously all that stuff, and then Friday will be my NFL game picks day. Friday will be the game picks, fantasy, college, NFL, all that stuff. So that's coming up as well. So with all that being said, enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.